All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are officially into our 5th game of this best of 5 grand final between Boom Esports and Team SMG. And it is MLP Dota and johnxfire. John, there's been so many words tossed around about SMG these past couple days, but, you know, going from a 2-0 deficit, they're 2-2 right now, and they may be here to prove everyone wrong in this final game. We're officially into a best of 1 now for the prize pool of the BTS Pro Series Season 8. I'll ask you straight off the bat, John. Boom, they've lost the last 2 games. The momentum's not their way. They've slowed down a lot. What's the common denominator here? What's wrong? What's the problem for Boom?
They need to actually save the FBZ hero until a bit later on. I think when they pick it this early in the draft phase, like in the first phase, what ends up happening is that the counter picks are there from SMG. They don't give FBZ a lane. And FBZ, if he doesn't have a game, Boom doesn't have the foundation to build off. Like, they need him to make the plays. If not make the plays, then make the space on the map. And so far, in the last 2 games, he hasn't been able to do so on his Batrider and on his Beast because SMG had a counter picks. So I think they have to just try to give FBZ as much as possible. Maybe give him a little bit more in the draft, like further into the draft phase, save that second phase for him instead of the first phase, and just try to go from there. You also might want to take care of the Monkey King from SMG. I think when you ban out something like the Venge, you lack a way of just breaking the Wukongs without anything like a swap. So you get a lot of value in just first phasing it for a mid one, because you can still flex it as a support without having to worry about Wukongs disappearing. You can still run it for mid one with a Desolator build up quick if need be. And mid one's just so effective on the hero. He knows where to be, he knows how to play aggressive, when to go back and farm, what item spikes to hit before showing up. And I think Boom has to respect that. If it's not picked up here, they've got to ban it in the next phase. Okay, they take it themselves. That's a good shakeup. At the least, take it away from mid one.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to respect how well the man's been playing this hero in the last 2 games. I want to give props to Moon as well, though, John. Last game, we didn't really talk about it, but 18-3 was the scoreline for that Void Spirit. Considering he was against the Viper during the lane, that is very impressive. I mean, 18-3 is already extremely impressive as it is. But considering how hard of a lane matchup he had, you've got to give it to Moon. He's been performing really well throughout this grand final.
Yeah, like, he's been consistent. A lot of momentum has been coming out from mid, and that's something we've talked about from SMG. If it's possible, they always have a lot of focus on mid. They rotate early on mid, usually Tofu, especially on a shaker, but we haven't seen that much. And even if it's not at 4-minute mark, around by 6, 2 supports collapse in, try to give Moon a kill, try to get that momentum going, and run from there. We'll see if they can repeat that here. The rest of the picks are coming true. Ember Spirit for Boom, likely the Yopaj hero. Some flex on hand, I suppose, to maybe run it safe for Paulus if need be, but that should just be Opaj. I think they're feeling confident because with SMG showing Weaver Bloodseeker, chances are one of these 2 heroes are support or both of these heroes are support. There's a possibility for them to just go back into Weaver Bloodseeker 4-5. It sounds super greedy. They could do it. If not, then Bloodseeker 5, Weaver on 1, or even offlane for KP if they want that. Could be flexed around still. So lots of options, but nothing that the Ember worries about. So the Ember should still be able to zip around. And we saw Yopaj in that first game. He was insane on the Ember. So getting this comfort pick for Boom to try to close out with, good sign.
Certainly so. I mean, you kind of mentioned it in the past 2 games as well. Like, we do tend to like to see Yopaj on those more active, flashy, for lack of a better word, cores in the mid lane. So certainly something a lot flashier here for Yopaj, and yeah, it's tried and tested, at least throughout that game 1. SMG, though, with this Weaver Bloodseeker pickup, I mean, it could be the POS 5 Bloodseeker, it could be the POS 3 again for KP. Either way, very flexible. They also go down the Weaver route. We've been seeing Weaver pretty much only being played in the support role as of late. So I suppose we could automatically assume it should be a support Weaver of some sort. I guess the flexibility is still there with like position 1 Weaver, because the hero is still quite potent in the POS 1 role, but again, we haven't seen it much in that position, so I kind of automatically assume it must be a support.
No, I think that's where it's been leaning for the most part. Lots of value there. And just playing for Urn Spirit Vessel timing super strong. You have a lot of forward presence. There's a lot of good damage you can fly through. If you go for a physical draft, the Swarm has a lot of value there as well. So you can kind of play around with that for SMG. Looking for a more physical damage output core for mid one. There are a couple of heroes sliding through here. There's a lot of potent mids for SMG if they want to go back to it. Stuff like Sniper, Winter Wyvern mid, Keeper of the Light mid, all the kind of strange mids that we know Moon actually excels at. Or, if they want to play it safe, the Mirana is still in the pool as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways to kind of run that, knowing that likely Opage taking the Ember mid again should be able to kind of give a good matchup there for Moon.
Yeah, in all fairness to Moon as well, even though those Mirana games weren't amazing, he was performing at a pretty high level on that mid Mirana. I wouldn't blame him for those losses. So I think, yeah, definitely the Mirana's still open. The Sniper, you mentioned it already, but it has not been banned out, and I believe this might be one of the first games that it has not been banned out, so we'll see if he wants to go down that route. For now, they go back to the comfort pick of Arfu in the Earthshaker. Love seeing the Arfu Earthshaker coming out, especially in this final game of this grand final. I am very curious now. You've got me thinking what they're going to pick up for Moon, because you are right, there are so many options available. I don't think we see Keeper, to be fair. I think Keeper of the Light mid is a bit too slow now, ever since those previous nerfs. I don't want to see a mid Sniper, if I'm honest, John, but there might be a chance of it. I've got to say, though, like, you still have the option for say, the Void Spirit. Maybe not the best pick into the Ember, but considering you just won against the Viper matchup, I don't think Moon would mind so much. And, well, now the Mirana's gone, so they won't have that option.
Ooh, this is quite the throwback for Boom, right? Tim's Mirana. This was his specialty on TNC. They almost picked it every other game, or almost every game on TNC when we were casting them in the region. So good to see that coming through again. Comfort picks coming out for Boom. The Mars coming through as well. Should be our offlane for FBZ. He plays a mean Mars. We've seen him do that again with the old line of Boom. Sets up, usually goes for Blink Yules is what he likes in the offlane. Just going for the setup, going for the spear plays. That will give him really stable team fight, which is something Boom's draft was lacking the past few games. And he's not directly counteracted here, right? There's not much really cutting off the Mars. I guess in a way the Weaver is going to be a bit annoying, or Bloodseeker could be annoying, but not overly so. SMG go into the Doom, so that should be our Moon Hero mid. Bringing out the Doom, we haven't seen it all today. We haven't seen it in a while ourselves in our own cast, so it does make a reappearance on the mid, more than likely. That does give you solid control for the Ember, but it can be a bit slow, depending on how you build, depending on how fast you play the Doom. You could be holding back the timings as you're waiting for your Devour and clearing out caps, taking space away from your 1, or you could be the bigger core and mid 1 could again play more active on the pause 1.
No, certainly so. Looking forward to seeing how they finish these drafts off. The mid Doom, something that we see someone like Carl playing just constantly in that mid lane on T1. I'd say he's probably the best Doom player in the region. Maybe in the world, just the way he plays it so aggressively, but see what Moon can get done this mid lane on this hero. Definitely a great answer to the Ember, that's for sure. And I think they're going to pay a lot of respect to Yopage's Ember after that game 1, just seeing how dominant he was. And he just turns into a win condition for the side of Boom. Like, even if Palos doesn't have a great time himself, you can always just have the backup of something like Yopage on this Ember that you wouldn't really see in, say, the Viper pickup we saw last game. Like, the Viper just doesn't have that crazy late game scaling potential, whereas the Ember kind of does. Still, final pickups to come. SMG, of course, going to get rid of some position 1s. They don't seem to believe that it is going to be a pos 1 Palos Monkey King, and that's fair. Boom Esports getting a bit of a mix of things banned out here. Though they aren't banning position 1, so perhaps we are about to see a position 1 Weaver coming out.
Could happen for SMG. It's really open. I think that's why for SMG. Like, for example, that Bloodseeker, they tend to run it more nowadays on Raji than they would on KP. So if that's a Raji Bloodseeker, it's still going to be the Afu Shaker, and that means the Weaver is going to have to be a core and should be pause 1. In that sense, well, Boom does lack some good lockdown for the Weaver. I think that's going to be the big issue. Outside of maybe just jumping in, getting the Ewell Spear off, you're relying on chains from the Ember, not reliable. You're relying on Boundless Strike, not Longest Stun. No good arrow setup outside of Spear here. So it's a lot of, again, pressure on FBZ to kind of set up. We'll see. SMG can still kind of flex things around if they want to. Again, they could give Weaver to Raji, Bloodseeker to KP, switch things around, and just last pick the mid-1 core. But I think the Weaver does play fast. So if they are expecting Weaver safe, that could be the core to play quicker while the Doom is still kind of building up, farming up with Devourer. You only really need Javelin. We've seen Weavers just kind of rush Javelin, head mid, look for the push and look for the fight, and just kind of run from there.
Yeah. Well, Boom. Final pickup for them, and they'll go into the Morphling route. Alright, first time we're seeing it today. The Morph does come out for Palos. I suppose there's some decent value being able to morph into, say, the Weaver. Pretty nice. The Earthshaker, of course, but mid-1, he'll go right back into the PL. His signature. This could be a pretty spicy game between these two teams. I want to ask you, who has the better draft here, John? It seems like a very back and forth kind of game we're expecting. I mean, so many great morph targets for Palos. Then again, we've seen mid-1 on this PL, and he is very scary on this hero. It does feel like SMG have got the answers for the draft of Boom Esports, but I'll ask you the tough question, John. Who do you think has the superior draft?
It's really even in draft. I think the PL, it just hasn't felt amazing for either team who picks it up. It's such a strange hero. Like, the timings don't feel right. The durability is there and does win out in long drawn out fight, but we rarely see long drawn out fights. And a lot of teams seem to not really have an issue finding the real Phantom Lancer. I think Yopaj having the Ember is more than enough to answer back. We've seen him do that before. And you can just kind of itemize appropriately on Palos to kind of handle it. So the back and forth, I would prefer Boom here, but there is a mid-game timing where SMG is stronger, like the Diffusal Sanjin Yasha or Diffusal Manta for PL. That's a really strong timing. Like, if you burn the mana of the Morphling, because he's not going to have as much farm then. You burn him out, he's dead. And I think if SMG play around that timing, it can work out. But if the game drags too long and they don't hit that spike, I think Boom has a pretty good shot here. So really even in draft, I'd lean towards Boom just because of that aspect, and because it looks like FBZ is actually going to be able to play the game here.
Well, it's been a great grand final thus far. Both teams giving the good lucks over to each other. Good sportsmanship for this fifth game. And of course, you know, like I said, I mean, there's been a bit of trash talk, a bit of BM, bit of tips flying out. You know, definitely a bit of heat between these two teams, but in the end, when you've hit a fifth game of a best of 5 grand final, you've got to pay respect to each other.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you've gone the distance. You know how far the enemy team can push you. They can really push you hard. So, yeah, it's respectable, and I think, you know, going back to what we were saying earlier, SMG, they had a lot of MSG, Mike. Lots of flavor today in that food to really kick them up a gear. And they've been looking good. And you said it early on in the draft. The team that turns around from a 2-0 and drags it on to a 2-2, that team's the one that's going to have the momentum behind them. And Boom, and they're playing against that momentum. SMG are feeling it. They know. They're on the edge of finding their tournament win here on BTS. And for Boom, this could weigh heavy on them. You said it. They've been second place so many times across so many tournaments. And this is a new roster. They want to find the win. They don't want to start on that note.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. SMG's a tough nut to crack.
They are. They are.
30 seconds.
Yeah, it does pan out for either side. I think it kind of goes both ways, right? Like SMG, they have a lot to prove. I think the crowd has been very, very judgmental, to say the least, of SMG. A lot of the time that we get to see it, at least. And well, I've been saying it over and over again as well, John, but This team slowly but surely improves every tournament we see them, and long behold, now they're sitting in the grand finals against Boom Esports with this really stacked roster.
Battle begins.
We are going to get started. Double bounty rune for either side. Fairly even start. We'll start with the top lane this time. You've got KP there on the Bloodseeker against, or rather with Arfu, who is going for a very early Fisher block out. Of course, they are going to be against Palos on the Morphling. They are going to be also against Tims, who is on the Monkey King, so he'll make his way up to the safe lane. Anything to watch out for in this lane matchup, John?
I think this actually works pretty nicely for Bloodseeker. We know how Morphlings like to play. We know that Morphling likes to juggle around the HP. Bloodseeker is a hero that punishes that. So as you drop in your HP proportion, the Bloodseeker has a better time once that first is stopped. I think the big thing here is that Tims has to put in a lot of work on his Monkey King to get the zoning out. So he's got good range to kind of twack at the double melee lane. That can help out, but Palos, he's stuck.
That's a lot of damage. That's the thing. If Arfu gets a nice Fisher into the Blood Right, be very scary times for Palos. Just wants to get to that level 3 mark where he can feel very safe with the Strength Morph. But for now, he'll have to be very cautious. Of course, over in the mid lane, Moon gonna be there against Yopaj. Moon already ahead. Oh, in fact, hold that thought, because bot lane, we are gonna have First Blood popping off. FBZ and CTM able to set up. And while we're here, we may as well talk about it. A lot of kill potential here between FBZ and CTM. You land a spear into an arrow, and that is almost going to guarantee somebody dies down at the spot lane.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Mars Mirana in quite some time. It used to be a really popular combination. Heck, a lot of the Mirana combos have just kind of tapered off, right? Like the DK Mirana, Sand King Mirana. But Mars Mirana is still strong. You do get the punishment onto the Weaver. The lane for mid one and Raji, it's actually a bit of a slower one. Like, Weaver can be aggressive. You can kind of try to zip around with Chikuchi, play with a Swarm once it's up. But PL is not a particularly aggressive safe lane. It doesn't really do well in early laning aggression. You kind of just want to sit back, farm. You could maybe abuse the Phantom Rush, but not that much early on.
Oh, Palos ends up dropping top lane. I believe Arfu caught him when he was maxed Agi. Probably trying to heal up with a salve there, and the Fisher just came out from Arfu to finish off the kill. Great little pick off there from Arfu, and I believe that was actually completely blind. Definitely a very nice play from our Earthshaker. It does make it 1-1. Palos going down to the Morphling, definitely not a great sign for Boom.
No, they're just abusing that. It goes back. I think they did get Vision out with Curse, depending on how low Palos was. And it just goes back to that. Like, you want to shuffle around your HP, but Bloodseeker makes that next to impossible to do.
Well, that is a good point, actually. They definitely didn't do a blind in that case. So Palos still not being given the space to be able to secure that level 3 timing he's looking for. And just look at him run them down. He'll go for another salve up. This time Arfu, he won't have the Fisher to throw out. So won't be able to really snipe him on the Morphling. Tim's now going to move in to KP, but there's not really too much he can do either on this Monkey King quite yet. Oh, we have a chance, John. We haven't talked about the mid lane so much yet. Of course, you got Moon against Yopaj. Very even kind of matchup. Imagine there won't be too many kills popping off here, but you never really know. You expect anything in particular to happen in this mid lane, or should we expect a bit of an even trading lane between the two?
Yeah, it's just going to be a farming lane, as it tends to be with the Doom. It's a race to level 6. Even then, sometimes you don't see the early committal from the Doom. It just kind of sits back, farms in the jungle. You are seeing Moon steady build up phase roots. You're going to get the Glove of Haste, maybe looking for the Midas, depending if you can farm it fast enough. For Yopaj, his timings, level 6 and phase boot Orb of Corrosion, as we tend to see. You'd want that by around 6-7 minute mark for at least the phase boots. And have the Corrosion not too long. Once that's up, you can be more aggressive. I think the early presence of Ember's not tied into cooldowns as much, so you can play with a Sleight of Fist, look to apply pressure, particularly on the mid 1 lane. You kind of want to shut down that PL fast, and that should be Yopaj's game plan as soon as he hits around 6-7 with those items.
Top lane Arfu. Again, just setting up, seeing if he can land a Fisher onto Palos, but Tims is going to scout all this out. Go on to Tims instead, and that's a great Fisher block once again. Arfu gonna force Tims to run around the long way. KB might go for a cheeky dive, but he won't go past the tier 1 tower. Still being very cautious. He is only at that level 3 mark. You don't want to go too far in. But the damage is done. I mean, this top lane, Palos is on 11 CS. This is a really poor start for a safe lane Morphling, to say the least.
It's not gonna get much easier as well. It's not like the Morphling flash farm's particularly fast. So we're gonna have to find a way to recover for Palos, and it's a great start for SMG. Compared to start you're getting on mid one, it's a lot better.
KB, let's get Primal Spring Dom, but it's not going to matter too much. He can just passively heal himself up eventually. Have a look back at this top lane a little bit later on. It does feel like it's going to be another one of those games here for Yopaj where he is going to be kind of expected to carry the load for a while. Allow Palos that comeback potential. It's not really a similar story for mid one. Like, while mid one is struggling a little bit here against FBZ, I'd still say he's had a better time overall on that Phantom Lancer. And he should have a decent enough time farming the jungle later on anyway. Just once you have the treads up, usually you're more than comfortable to just go jungle as this PL, and we should see that timing pretty soon for him. Props to FBZ though, he has done a pretty decent job at keeping mid one down considering the circumstances.
It's, again, a change of pace for him. The past 2 games have been nearly unplayable this time around. He's got a lane, he's getting farm. He's kind of keeping that core in check, but not enough to offset how slow Palos to start is. Still, he's going to hit level 6 at a good point, and he can play from there.
Palos, he might be going down, and he does. Arfu is able to secure the kill, but in the meantime, mid one drops down to the bot lane, so both position ones ends up dying. As now Rogi does get caught out. A very nice spear there from FBZ. And Tims will jump in with the Primal Spring to make sure they secure the kill. It seems like both pos ones are struggling right now, but again, I feel like mid one just struggling a little bit less in terms of CS. Still boom. They're going to move on to that bottom tier 1 tower with the siege creep. SMG will try and do the exact same thing at the top lane. They'll make the jump in again onto Palos. But this time Yopaj, he'll make the rotation over in that tree line, but Moon's here as well. Doom is going to fly out. They've got the Morphling, but the Strength Morph is going to be there in time, but it's probably not going to matter, as it seems they might have enough damage in the end, and they do. KB able to clean up the kill and just make his way out, as Arfu is still being chased down here and may eventually drop to Yopaj. Top lane, Moon going to turn back around onto CTM, trying to secure another kill. But there are too many heroes around. In fact, FBZ now does drop the arena, but he has no mana for the spear. And they will continue to chase him down with KP. Tims will hold back the Bloodseeker. But overall, it does seem like a very favorable trade the way of SMG.
They find the big kill again, keeping that Morphling down. Palos, after a really slow start in the Morphling, needs to find some space to recover. The difference with Palos and mid one is actually pretty big. 500 gold behind, and these are our bottom 2 cores. So for SMG, big news is at least mid one's not bottom, and the Phantom Lancer is going to be able to farm up a bit quicker with the Juxtapose up. With the Illusion Army, with a Phantom Rush, you can jump across caps relatively quick. You don't drain yourself of mana. Compared to Morphling, who is going to need some sustain, doesn't even have power treads up, only has Morbid Mass. And I think that timing on the Morphling is going to just hold him back a lot more. As you mentioned, lots of pressure on Yopaj and lots of pressure on FBZ. They need to be setting into place. They need to make work happen on the map. They are starting to build some farm up to that point, and they are starting to rotate up top.
Yopaj is here. Moon is still sticking around, but you don't have the Doom up anymore. Arfu's going to get scouted initially. Tims, though, they want to go after KP, but the Rupture is there on FBZ. It just may not matter. KP, going to try and run, but eventually the chains will come in into the Boundless Strike. KP will just buy a bit of time here, but knows he is eventually going to die. Tips are out, Arfu. Tip his own teammate.
He got the tree chopped down. I think that was tip worthy at least.
Yeah, I guess so.
Managed to get the yes in the dark, but doesn't save his life. Nice pick off for Boom. Not the biggest kill, but it does give them more to play with, and that's what we need to see more of. Just play the pick off game with your Moors, with your Ember. Keep trying to stall out, trying to buy space for Palos, and hope the Morphling can start catching up. I say Palos has space, but even Raji's just playing poke at him, and as a Pos 5 Weaver, he's got almost the same EXP as Palos, so he has a lot to offer. even though the farm's not quite there. Boom. Tims is just trying to scout around, but might be overstaying his welcome.
Yeah, they deny him that observer ward. They're not going to allow him to just take that freely. Eventually, Arfu should be able to get a deny off, as they'll leave it for now. Boom. They're going to group up in that mid lane. Smoke is available, and they're going to pop it. Earn timing available there for CTM, so you certainly want to get some charges going. Yopaj, he'll be on the front line, and they might run right into mid one. Pings are out. Are they too late, though? Mid one. It's kind of limited as to which way he can go right now. Battle Strike is there. Into the arena spear. Great setup from FBZ and Tims. They'll get the big one. They'll get mid one down.
Nice big kill. Kind of, again, balancing out for Palos. Trying to make sure that Morphling can kind of catch up and they slow down the Phantom Lancer as well. Big issue is that, well, SMG does lose their PL. Moon is sort of free farming on the Doom. He's got Devour. He's just got free reign of the jungle. He's got his Midas up. So the blink timing, the BKB timing for the Doom's not going to be too far off. And once that blink Doom is up, that's going to be a big issue for Yopaj and for Palos. They're going to need some form of protection there. Maybe a Lincoln's build-up on the Morphling could help. It does look like Palos is opting for the SMY though. But at least one spell block is going to be necessary to ensure that these mobile heroes won't be caught out.
Top lane, who are they going after? Fisher out. They've got Yopaj, but he's got the haste rune up. There's no escaping this man, or maybe you can try to turn, but no. Spear, arrow, and KP will be left behind. No tip this time around from Arfu. And Yopaj will take his third kill of the game. And so it begins.
Yeah. Starting to pile on the Ember. Trying to work towards that Maelstrom. Finding these kills and working onto the Maelstrom, it's going to give them a great answer for the PL. But look at bot. They're sneaking around. They could find a Morphling.
Palos, he's going to waveform through. Moon, unable to get the Doom off in time. Eventually, we'll just use the pig out and just make his way out of there. The one big positive right now for SMG is Moon is just so far ahead of anyone else in terms of net worth. And with the Midas and Devour, you are just going to keep escalating in terms of that gold lead. We'll see where he kind of transitions. Again, I kind of think back to Carl every time I see a mid-Doom. I try to think, what would Carl do on this hero? Any ideas, John, apart from the Blink BKB he's already queued up?
You go for Shiva's down line.
Excellent.
I think even the Ags upgrade could be helpful. Just a longer Doom against a Morphling, against an Ember could also be nice, although I don't know if it's necessary. Because I feel like they can just kill the Morphling and Ember in that window, the initial Doom anyway. But yeah, probably just Shivas or AC, depending if what benefits your team more. Likely Shivas, because I don't really feel like they're going to need the attack speed aura on the Assault Cures too much. Just get more slows, hold them back, and play from there. Shouldn't take too long for Moon to kind of hit those spikes. And again, it's a Doom. You know, you're like an alchemist. You just build a network lead naturally. It is up there, but SMG overall don't really have much of a network lead as a team. They've got a 1k lead. They've given a lot to Moon, but they've sacrificed mid one and they've sacrificed KP. Palos has managed to pull ahead at least of KP now, and it's just kind of nipping at the heels of mid one. So the Morphling is getting some space to recover. And that bot lane should be opening up soon. They can look to force the push. The Blink is up for Moon. So if they wanted to, they could just look for a nice easy Blink Doom play and just find a clean pick-off to build on for SMG.
Certainly a big spike here for Moon now. Definitely wants to get that Blink Doom going immediately. However, top lane, KP again going to be caught out. Gets the Blood Rite and the Rupture, but the chains don't land. So Yopaj, he might have to go for a bit of a chase, but mid one's around as well. Spear though, FBZ actually catches mid one into the arrow.
What?
Oh, the Save Your Buddy syndrome. It strikes again. Is KP. He's going to be caught out anyway. Doom's going to be there, but they have the arena out. FBZ, he never had to commit it. Moon, he's in pretty big danger right now. CTM though, no, he's going to miss the arrow. They don't have the follow-up lockdown. But I suppose just saving the Ember is going to be enough of a reward here for the side of Boom. And they already got mid one and KP anyway.
got the big core kills. Doom does not line up for a kill. So that's a massive cooldown now on the side of SMG. 2 minutes without that spell. It gives Boom a lot to play for. They can look to play aggressive now. Even without the arena, they should be able to find the kills if they want to. More than likely, this is just breeding room for Palos. He knows there's no Doom. He knows you can show up in lane, build farm, has the Yasha going for the Sanj next, not too far away. Once you have that, with a stat resist, it becomes a lot better for Palos. He has more presence coming through. There is the spike here for SMG though, Mike. Mid one has the defusal. He can just melt the mana. If he runs into that Morphling, it's not going to be an easy time for Palos. It's not going to have much mana to morph around from Strench and Agi.
That is not. Palos, he's already having a pretty tough time himself on this Morphling. Still trying to work towards that S&Y build-up now, but like you mentioned, that mana drain is going to be a pretty big issue. So there is an issue for SMG, and that has been the Ember thus far. Yopaj 4-0-2 so far, 15 minutes in. Definitely been a bit of a concerning sign for SMG as Moon is currently staring him down, but doesn't really have the Doom available to throw out. Can't really do too much to stop this Ember in his tracks. You see a bit of a group up here from Boom in the mid lane. They're really going to try and pressure this mid tier 1 tower now. They have the siege creep. They must know Doom's on cooldown. They're going to move in, but, well, there's your Midas out from Moon. He's not going to allow the siege creep to survive. And I suppose that is one of the added benefits of having the Midas, is you can just take away the siege creep instantly.
Just stop pushing its tracks. It's going to force Doom away. Do catch out KP for a bit, but rupture there. Bosh just forced away, although.
What they got, Moon, mid lane. Arrow actually is whiffed. Oh, the arrow does not land. And Moon, he will just keep pump faking the slammers now. Maybe they can finish him, but no, he's out. No, Yopaj! He comes in from the backside and cleans him up, and now the double chains out into the Echo Slam Afu. He's trying to help out. It won't matter. Who cares if you miss the arrow? As long as you've got this Ember, he'll get it done anyway.
You know what we used to talk about as well, Mike? In the past, remember we talk about Morphling up against the Shaker, not needing to buy eggs? Well, there it is. You know, Palos just turns into Morphling, gets the enchant, gets a big hit on his right click.
Yep.
And they're actually doing it. And we've talked about that for at least a year. We've never seen it happen, but it's coming out for Palos in Game 5. He's having some impact. And boom, they've got a grip in this game. 1k lead airway, 3-12, momentum behind them. They take that mid-tier 1, they invade the bot jungle. And for SMG right now, it's just a matter of building up more farm, especially under Phantom Lancer. Diffusal just doesn't cut it for mid 1. He needs the Yasha. He could go for SMY, he could go for Mantle. Either one kind of works, although the Mantle will give him protection from the root at very least and give him more leeway. Kind of play on edge there. Boom, are smoked up. You know, something's happening by Roshan.
Now Rogi, Gucci away, chains are there on Moon. Arena Spear immediately into the arrow. Moon's gone. Yeah, Moon, he might need a BKB very, very soon, as this is proving to be a real issue. FBZ and CTM just constantly holding him down. Rogi at least will be able to make the escape on the Weaver. But you've already got the big target you wanted. The highest net worth hero on the map is down. And you know, saying that, Palos is now right behind him, just behind by about 400 gold. And that's a really bad sign for SMG.
It's such a big turnaround for Palos. He was like bottom core, even behind KP at some point at the start. Now he's number 2. He's hit a major spike with just the Sanj and Yasha, really abusing the morph into Shaker. Just having that extra damage without really needing much more farm. And the side of Boom, it's down to the fact that FPZ has a game. He hits this good blink timing, he lines up for the spear, lines up for the arena, sets up for the arrow. And with just that control, they find these early kills. And it's not giving SMG any openings to play with. They have no counterplay. There's no counter initiation once you lose your big core. You're just kind of forced to back off. For SMG, I think the one hope they have is that they do have Doom. It's a strong spell, it's a strong hero. but they're not really able to use that spell in a meaningful way. We only saw one Doom, didn't line up for a kill, and right now, while it's off cooldown, they're not really looking for fights. They just want to keep farming. Maybe it's as he said, they just want that BKB on Moon first, Mike, and it's still a ways off. Even with
FBZ. He's all over, John. FBZ, you talked about his Mars. You know how great he is on this hero. He'll find his 6th kill of the game, and he's been involved in 13 out of 14 kills for Boom so far. In top lane, it may not be over. SMG, they might need to run. Tims, he's in. Echo committed from Arfu onto one hero, but mid one, he's still going to be chained up. Arrows off the mark. It may not matter though. He'll try to fight the best he possibly can because he's got no exit plan whatsoever. He'll just chase down Tims, but he won't even get that. And KP, he might be targeted next to the spear. Gonna be off the mark, but the Boundless Strike is out. Another double kill out for Yopaj.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's gonna line up there for Boom. It's just SMG are sitting back. They're trying to play this farm game. I feel like at some point we expect Moon to be up front. Even if he's waiting for the BKB, you have to play with Doom. You just have to. It's such a big spell. It's such a key part of your control against the Morphling, against the Ember. And if Moon doesn't show up, you know, pretty much every fight is just lost. There's no counterplay. You don't have the team fight for it. You do have the slam, but Afu's been forced to kind of launch it on one hero to stall out fights. And Boom's just been abusing that. They're just invading the triangle, looking to collapse mid now, in mid one.
Oh, not again. Not mid one again. Primal Spring in. He's going to be okay. The chain. Oh, maybe not. Arena is out, but FBZ, he got an illusion with the spear up a mid one. He's still dropping so darn low. He can't back out in time, or maybe he can, but Yopaj, he's in the chase with a slider fist. He'll get the kill. Godlike for our Ember, 9-0-4. Seems like a bit of a repeat performance here from Yopaj. And for mid one, well, it's his 5th death of the game, John. 0-5-0. It's been rough.
Yeah, it's not been a great showing for Phantom Lancer as a hero in this series. I think overall, the impact of the hero just feels off. And they're trying their best. The Manta is lined up here for mid one. But there's just not room for him to farm. The safe spots are taken by Moon. They are smoked up though. They've got Doom. Moon is ready to go with a BKB.
Blood right out, but it's not going to matter. The Boundless Strike was there immediately from Tims. KB, he'll throw the rupture, but he knows nothing's going to come out of it. Just has to get it out before he dies. SMG, they're still posturing aggressively with this BKB up on Moon and the Doom up. But they can't really find an opening. And to make matters even worse, Jonathan, Palos has a Lincoln Sphere up, so you can kind of forget about dooming that morph.
Great. I was looking for that build-up on either Chapoy or Palos. Good to see that one of them has it. As mentioned, you need one spell block, and that's going to be enough. That'll complicate matters for Moon. He has to kind of try for the Infernal Blade first, and that can slow down the process, give enough leeway for the enemy hero to respond, and he's stuck.
Yeah, he got himself up there. BKB forced. He's going to TP, and he should be just fine. It's a long TP, though. Jeez, it makes you think. But he's alright. It was an 8-second BKB charge. It's the arrow. Fu, it's going to land. Fu, where were you watching, sir? I mean, it was a really nice arrow from CTM because it was mostly fog in the tree line. And another great kill there from the side of Boom.
And again, they get the enchant, the Earthshaker form for Palos. So enchant totems there, plus 256 damage. Nice to see. SMG, I think it's actually a really big deal they lose their 9-second charge on Moon. Like, you need as much as you can. This is the big investment you made on your lineup. You were banking on Doom to hit BKB, to jump Doom, and just control one of these big cores. As you mentioned, with Lincoln's up, you can only really hold the Ember now. And Yopaj has been doing a good job of just staying so far away that you can't even find the angle to lock in that Ember Spirit. And to make matters worse, he's got his axe out.
Mid one, gonna try and move in onto CTM. Yopaj is around to protect his teammate, and now FBZ's in, but he missed the spear. He's popped the BKB. He'll commit to the team fight. Rogi, he's kind of trapped up right now. Meanwhile, on the backside, mid one, he's trying to get his escape plan going, but it's not going to work out. Palos gets the kill. They save Rogi, but what does it matter if you're losing your PL? In fact, I say they saved him, but Tim's is still hunting him down. Rogi, not out of the woods yet. He's going to keep Sakuching. TP. The balance is off the mark. They didn't have the vision. But Boom Esports, they should still be very happy with the mid one kill. They are not giving any leeway to this PL whatsoever this game 5.
They're not giving any openings. The bigger loss there is that they use Doom. Oh, Alpha.
They're committing everything onto Tims, and Tims is not dying. This is desperate times now for the side of SMG as they are trying their best to find
Mike, one kill. One kill for Boo.
Oh,
That's all I want right now.
the 3-2-2 dream. It's active.
Yes, just one. Come on.
You love to see it.
Yeah. But they doomed Pilots a while ago, Mike. With the Lincolns, I thought they saw it at some point. They never did. So that big spell's on cooldown, a minute 10. A lot of time for Boom. They just want to jump in. Went at Ags on Yopaj, and he's rushing to refresh. This is the point when he gets silly. This is the exact point when the game just flipped on its head for Boom, and they're going to go for the Roshan first. Shouldn't take too long. They've got Tims, they got Palace in the area. SMG, they don't have wards around the Roche pit, so they've got to get a good scan guess, but even then, without Doom, without Echo Slam, I don't know if they can even fight in that area.
Oh, it's gone now too fast, and Roshan's just gone. Look at the Aegis going the way of Palos. SMG, again, desperate times here for the Radiant. Try and find themselves some form of an opening. Mid one's still about 4k behind Palos, but that's probably the least of his worries. FBZ just haunting him this whole game with that Mars. All SMG can do is just wait for that Doom to be off cooldown and maybe try to find a pick-off. But Boom, they have not been given the openings. Mid lane, a big group up. Yopaj gonna miss a slight. Arrow's gonna land. Rogi does get caught by the stun. Rod of Atos is there, however. CTM, he'll juke out the Blood Right with the Yule Scepter. And I'll tell you, John, there's something funny about the 3-2-2 scoreboard being alive right now, because it always makes us more nervous than the actual game does. Like, everyone just wants the 3-2-2 to happen every time. As Moon's gonna jump in and try to ruin it, but no. Remnant's away. Stuns out. They've got Palos, but they can't doom him up. They need that Lincoln's broken. Now mid one. He's been caught again with the spear out. FBZ. He will not allow him, and there it is. The 3-2-2 is available. It's up. Everybody wanted it, and that's exactly what they got.
Oh, Boom. What a way. Last game to get the 3-2-2. Now, SMG's still looking for an angle. They're smoked up here. They've got the Slam. They've got Doom. They just need a target.
Need something. Palos just very confidently going to go after that tier 3 tower.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
KP. Boundless is there. Arrow going to connect. They've got more lockdown. Arfu's gone. He'll buy back. I imagine that the press of the buyback button was very angry at that moment for Arfu. There's Palos. I have Skadi now up on the morph. He's much tankier and much harder to deal with as KP's too close. He is too close. Palos will get a double. Fisher out, but you can't really defend right now. It's just a very tough circumstance here for SMG. They're lacking buybacks as well, at least on mid one. So he can't really afford to die at the moment. So they'll break the Lincolns, but Palos is going to get out scot-free. Moon, he's going to jump in. BKB up, but he does not want to commit onto Tims. Palos, he'll move in again. There's the Echo Slam Arfu. He'll get rid of the Aegis, and he gets rid of Tims. That's a start, but FBZ, he's going to jump in, spear off the mark. It won't matter, though, because Arfu's down, and now Rogi's just trapped up. He will drop as well. Doom is committed onto Yopaj, but is it too late? It does seem like it. They'll try and move in. Mid one, he'll try onto Palos, but he's got the Weaver form now. He's got the Sakuchi up in mid one. He's a sitting duck. He'll try to run, but he cannot. No buyback. As Palos He's dropping low, but he's just not low enough, Moon. He's gonna drop. No buyback available. They might just go after us another Rax here. After that mid-tier 2 tower. Rogi, he's just kind of scouting around right now by himself on the map. It's a very lonely experience for Rogi. As Boom Esports get closer and closer, John. 4 to 30. Tips flying out for mid one. Everyone just giving it to the man. Boom Esports, absolutely no remorse. The mental welfare of SMG. And Boom, they're on to Megas, John. I'm not sure how you stop this anymore for SMG. There's only one lane of racks left.
They don't have the spells to do it. They don't have Slam, they don't have Doom. Holding back the Ember and Morphin at that point is just near impossible. They've just got to hold their own for a while longer, maybe try to stall out the Megas, but without the spells up, it's down to Boom to actually
Read
get
it
them
down.
moving.
FBC, another great setup into the arrow. They've got him. That might be it. Another arena round. FBC, he's just all over. He's got the refresher orb. GG. That's it, Boom Esports. After so many attempts, they have finally managed to pull it off here, John. As they just keep going forward into the fountain. But there you go. A 3-2 victory here for Boom Esports in the BTS Pro Series Season 8.
Oh, man. How long has Boom as an org wanted this? How long has FBZ have been on the precipice of finding that win in the BTS tournaments? They finally find it. Boom. New lineup. They managed to make it work. SMG putting up a great fight. Maybe not this game, but the last 2 games, they managed to turn it around. They managed to take wins away from Boom, who looked so strong in the first 2 games. It was a lot of back and forth from both sides. SMG dragging it all the way to game 5, proving the haters wrong. They proved them wrong because FEZ said weak, or at least he meant they were stronger. In the end, that is true, but SMG is definitely not weak. They ride through Motivate Trust earlier on as well. 2-0. A lot, they got fueled by that passion, by that anger. Mike came online, just couldn't overcome, and Boom. This is, in my eyes, and I think in your eyes as well, Mike, the new powerhouse of Southeast Asia. Right? Like, we've lost TNC, we've lost Boom, the old lineup, but so far, Yopaj, CTM, Tims, FBZ, Palos, who, might or might not be permanent. I will not comment further. This lineup looks great, and the results here speak for themselves. They managed to have a great time in the Pro Series, and they rise above, Mike.
Absolutely. That they do, John. And we have an interview already here. We've got Skem, the man himself. Hello, Mr. CTM. Congratulations on your victory for the Pro Series Season 8. How are you feeling right now, sir?
Feeling happy.
That's good to hear. It's good to hear. Oh, yeah. You guys were 2-2 at one stage after a 2-0 lead. What happened?
Team's electricity go out, then he go to his friend's house. Then he cannot play properly.
Oh, wow.
And your punch ping is not stable also. But it's not a reason. We lose 2 games. They are also good.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's great to hear. Scam, were you guys expecting this win? Like, we were talking to FBZ last time. He seemed very confident. It's a new roster, right? Like, you guys come from different teams. A lot of you played with each other on and off, at least you and Yopaj for a while. You guys know each other, but was this the result you were expecting? Did you guys expect to actually go all the way and find that win?
I think we have so high expectation on our team, but we didn't expect on our first tournament we will win.
Yeah, it's fair. I think it's a very optimistic thing. Now, for anything else, gusto mo ba mag-Tagalog, Scam? Kung mas comfy ka, mag-Tagalog tayo. Okay lang. Iwan natin si Mike. I-translate ko lang. Gusto mo ba?
Ay, kahit ano lang. Okay lang naman English. Pag
Okay lang
naiintindihan nila.
English. Okay. Sige. English lang. English na tayo. We'll stick to English. I have to ask, this is specific to your lineup. I don't know how much you can say, But is this the final form of Boom Esports? Is this the full roster, or is there something else that's up to change?
Uh, I think might be this is our roster already, but
Okay.
not 100% confirmed.
Okay.
Okay. So look forward to what might come out in the future. And speaking of the future, what do you guys what's the long-term goal of the stack? Or what do you guys intend? Is it, typical thing, aim for TI? You guys are, I believe, starting in the DPC next season. I forget where
Lower
Doom is
division, I
actually
think.
placed. They placed lower. Are you
Yeah.
guys looking forward to that DPC climbing back up to upper there?
Yeah, we will go to lower to upper. Then I hope we can qualify to majors. Then TI.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. Okay, well, I will ask you before we let you go. I tweeted at you the other day. You told me you're getting a new tattoo. I love your tattoos, by the way, but I've got to ask you what's the new tattoo? What are we getting?
I don't know yet. I'm still finding designs.
All right. I mean, it's a thing, right? With tattoos, they're very addictive once you start getting them. But they look fantastic on you, Skep. Look fantastic.
Thanks.
No problem.
I've one more thing, Scam. I've noticed, you've seen it as well. You've seen Japoy's Facebook. He has free burgers. He's got computer shop deals. How about you? Are we looking forward to sponsorships for Mr. Andre himself, Mr. Scam? Are you looking for sponsorships as well in your area?
No, I think
No.
yeah, it's okay if there is sponsor or if there's no sponsor.
Fair
You go.
enough. Fair enough.
Well, it was lovely to talk to you. Congratulations on your victory, sir, and we can't wait to see you next season in the DPC.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
Thanks.
you. That was the lovely Scam, of course. Big grand final for them. Geez, 2-2 at one stage, John. Very, very frightening stuff. I didn't know Tim's literally had to go to his mate's house. I mean, we just guessed that he figured something out, like as you tend to do. But I suppose electricity goes out. What are you going to do? You would know this better than I would. But in the Philippines, it can be a little bit rough like that. That the power doesn't necessarily come on, ASAP just because you're playing a professional Dota 2 game. If it's down, it's down. And, well, the poor guy had to, I don't know what he did to get to his mate's house in time, but he must have been running pretty darn fast, poor old Tim's.
Yeah, that's something. We've had that situation before with players having to jump to the net cafes and stuff. It always throws you off. But I like what Skem did there. He acknowledged there were issues. In the end, SMG did manage to take those two games fair and square, right? And they acknowledged their power, but I think it's great to see from Boom that there was some humility at the end as well. Scam was like, we didn't really expect to go all the way. We're a new stack. That's quite ambitious to expect, even with veteran names. We've seen stacks like that kind of fall flat, and it works out. A lot more work to put in for Boom, but they finally find that win. The org, Mr. Gary Onko, should be happy. They make it through,
Good on you,
breaking
Gary.
that curse. Yep, and they managed to do it.
Yeah, fantastic job. Very, very nice to see Boom Esports they've done. It makes me very happy to see it. Props to SMG, though. I mean, you pointed this out earlier, and I think Skem pointed this out as well during the interview, but a lot of respect to these guys. They did a fantastic job all the way to the grand final after against some pretty competitive teams. And even just forcing it back, 2-2 after a 2-0 deficit. It's not easy to do. And of course, that last game wasn't exactly that close. But what can you do? It happens at times. And I've said this over and over again, SMG. They continue to come back stronger and stronger every time we see them throughout different tournaments. And they are up a division next season for the DPC. So, they've got a bit of a head start against Boom, regardless of what's happened here. And I look forward to seeing the adjustments they make to make themselves an even better team than they already are. With that, though, John, as sad as it is to say, that is going to be it for the Pro Series Season 8. Another fantastic tournament down. It's gone now. And that means in 11 days, or maybe even 10, because it is 1 a.m. for me right now, 10 days away from TI, John. Very, very exciting stuff coming up. Geez, I may as well ask you why you're here, John. Who's winning? Who's winning TI 10?
I want to say T1 Fnatic from the bottom of my heart. I feel like
course.
it's going to be a Chinese year, though. I think LGD is going to be able to take it. If not LGD, then I think EG's prime time. They're lined up for it. They've gone through the hero's journey of failing twice, getting second It's time for them to get first. So it's either one, LGD or EG. That's probably what we're going to see. But in my heart of hearts, I want to hope that Ignition will make it through. I want to see our boys go out. We haven't seen them in a while. They're doing great. I'll always cheer for Cuckoo, March, Whitemon, all the boys there.
Yeah.
But I think it's LGD. I think it's LGD, yeah.
We'll see. I think if an SEA team can make it to top 4, if we get to that later stage, because I've always noticed SEA teams are very momentum based. Like, you need that energy behind you. I think the community in Southeast Asia has gotten a lot more vocal as of late, and I think that's a great thing for the teams, right? To have that the crowd cheering you on, even if it's remotely on the internet or whatever. It definitely helps to send that positivity over to the teams and show them that you are there to support them no matter what. And yeah, hopefully we have at least the region has a great time at TI10. I'm sure we will. With that though, that is it for me and John, at least for this season. We'll be back after TI10. Thank you for all the support as usual. Shout out to the other casters, of course, Aries and Danog, that were casting as well for the BTS Pro Series Season 8. And of course, we did hear all your support about the whole TI talent invites thing, but we want you guys to just relax and just enjoy TI. We'll be fine. You know, John and I, we're lazy people. We'll sit back and just watch TI for the next week and a half. So you don't worry about that. Just enjoy and, you know, cheer on T1 and Fnatic as we do get into it. Apart from that, it is MLP johnxfire, and we'll see you all again next time.